A marina in Connecticut. 6 boats on the hard. Tarps rotting off fiberglass hulls that cost $30,000 to build new. A handwritten sign on the nearest one says $8,000 or best offer. Nobody called. That boat sat for 2 years. 2 winters under that tarp while the yard charged $40 a foot per month in storage fees. The owner paid $1,200 a month to store a boat nobody wanted to buy. Then a retired electrician from New Jersey drove 4 hours, paid $6,500 cash, and sailed it to Bermuda 9 months later. He did not use a broker, he did not finance it, nobody helped him find it. He found it because he knew where to look. That is the entire story of this video. There are 20 sailboats on this list. All of them are under $15,000. All of them are real boats, built to real standards by real American and European yards during the decades when those yards still cared. The marine industry does not want you to find them, not because they are hiding them, but because there is no money in selling you a $10,000 boat. A broker earns 10% on every sale. On a $10,000 sailboat, that is $1,000. On a $150,000 Beneteau, the same paperwork earns $15,000. Boats.com said it openly in their buyer's guide. They said small boats are rarely sold by brokers, since they produce too little income for the amount of time required to make the sale. They admitted it. The inventory exists, the brokers just do not list it. That is why this list exists. Subscribe to Yachts and Boats so you do not miss the next one. Number 1. The Catalina 22. This is where the list starts because this is where most sailors start. Frank Butler designed it in 1969 and the world has never stopped buying it. Over 15,000 hulls were built across 5 decades. It is the most commercially successful sailboat ever made. That fact matters because it answers the first question every buyer has. Will I be able to get parts? Catalina is still in business. Catalina. Direct still stocks parts specifically for this boat. The National Catalina 22 Association has active racing fleets on lakes and bays across the country. The boat is 22 feet long. Beam is 7 feet 8 inches. Displacement is 2,250 pounds. You can find one for $2,000 in rough shape and $7,000 in very good shape. The wing keel version, introduced in 1986, is the one to buy for solo sailing. It delivers more stability than the standard swing keel without adding draft. Watch the swing keel. Pivot pin on any boat before 1986. That is the one thing that wears and fails. Everything else on these boats runs forever. Number 2. The Pearson 26. William Shaw designed this boat in 1970 and Pearson built nearly 5,000 of them before 1983. 5,000. That number tells you everything about parts availability, owner communities, and resale. The boat is 25 feet 7 inches overall. Beam is 8 feet 8 inches. Almost all Pearson 26s use an outboard motor mounted in a dedicated well. That is a feature, not a flaw. No inboard means no raw water impeller to replace, no transmission to rebuild, no stuffing box to repack. When the outboard fails, you buy a new outboard. The Pearson 26 has a 41% ballast ratio. That means 41 cents of every pound on this boat is in the keel, pulling it upright. The Pearson 30, which costs roughly twice as much on the used market, has a similar ballast ratio. You are buying the same engineering philosophy at half the price. You will find them for $3,000 in project condition and $9,000 in sail-away condition. Check the hull-to-deck joint and the iron keel for surface corrosion. Both are fixable. Neither is dangerous if caught early. Number 3. The Cal 25. Bill Lapworth designed it for Jensen Marine in California in 1966. One family rebuilt a tired Cal 25 in their driveway and then sailed it around the world. Not around the bay, around the world. The secret is the keel. 1,700 pounds of cast lead bolted under a 25-foot hull. Lead is 44% heavier than iron, A lead keel that size makes this boat stiffer in heavy air than boats 10 feet longer with iron ballast. Practical Sailor called the cockpit big enough to sail 4 and drink 6. That is a real quote from a real review. The boat has been out of production for 50 years, and owners are still racing them against modern boats and finishing in the top third. Bill Lapworth went on to design the Cal 40, which is considered one of the finest offshore racing sailboats ever built in the United States. The 25 is the boat where he learned what a lead keel could do. Used price is $3,000 to $8,000 depending on location and condition. The 4-foot draft prevents easy trailering on shallow ramps. If you sail from a marina or a mooring, that limitation disappears entirely. Everything else about this boat is a gift. Now the market context that the industry refuses to explain. North American sailboat sales fell 13.79% in 2025, according to Boats Group. Pre-owned boat sales in 2024 reached 860,000 units. That is 80% of all boats sold in the United States. Pandemic-era buyers who purchased in 2020 and 2021 are now selling. Prices on classic 1970s and 1980s boats are soft. Motivated sellers are real. Practical Sailor said it directly in May 2026. Listings are piling up, price cuts are everywhere, motivated seller edits are common. This is the window. Which boat in this list is worth acting on first? Subscribe to Yachts and Boats and we will keep building this research. Number 4. The O'Day 25. C.R. Hunt and Associates designed this boat, and O'Day built 2,898 of them between 1975 and 1984. It comes in 2 versions, swing centerboard or fin keel. The fin keel version is the better seaboat. The centerboard version gives you shoal draft access to anchorages the fin keel cannot reach. Buy the version that matches where you sail. Beam is 8 feet. Displacement is just under 4,000 pounds. The O'Day 25 is a conventional small cruiser that favors sailing qualities over motoring performance. It goes upwind better than the McGregor 26. It tracks more predictably in chop. It has a conventional cruising cabin with real berths. Used price is $2,000 to $7,000 on the private market. O'Day went bankrupt in 1989, but the design is common enough that parts and knowledgeable owners are everywhere. Number 5. The Hunter 25. Warren Lures built Hunters for one specific buyer, the person who wants more space below than the competition offers at the same price. He delivered it. The Hunter 25 has 6 feet 3 inches of standing headroom. That is full standing headroom in a 25-foot boat. The interior volume beats every Pearson, every Cal, and most boats 5 feet longer. Hunters are sometimes criticized for softer build quality than Cal or Cape Dory. That criticism is fair on offshore passages in heavy weather. On a lake, a bay, or a protected coastal route, it is irrelevant. The space you get for the price is not available anywhere else. Used price is $4,000 to $10,000 for examples from the 1970s and the 1980s. Number 6. The Cape Dory 25. This is where the list changes character. Every boat before this one is a capable, affordable, practical cruiser. The Cape Dory 25 is an offshore boat at an inshore price. George Stadel III designed it on a mold descended from Carl Alberg's Greenwich 24. 845 hulls were built between 1973 and 1982. Full keel. Encapsulated lead ballast. A capsize screening formula well under 2.0, which is the threshold that matters for offshore sailing. One owner sailed the Pacific coast south to Baja and into the Sea of Cortez. He said they are rugged boats. The best thing about the boat is she is weather capable, sturdy, and well built. Most Cape Dory 25s on the market average around $9,500. That is the going rate for a boat that can take you anywhere on the ocean. For context, a new 22-foot entry-level sailboat from a volume builder lists for $28,000 to $30,000 today. The Cape Dory 25 is 3 feet longer, built heavier, designed for offshore conditions, and costs a third of the price. The Cape Dory Sailboat. Owners Association at capedory.org is one of the most active owner networks for any boat this size. Number 7. The O'Day 27. Same pedigree as the 25, but with a skeg-supported rudder instead of a spade. That detail matters more than it sounds. A skeg-supported rudder tracks steadier in a building breeze and is far more forgiving for solo sailors who cannot watch the helm every moment. The O'Day 27 leans toward a heavier, conservative hull than the comparable Catalina 27. It rewards the hands-on owner who wants a slightly more rugged boat and does not need the Catalina's parts network. Used price is $4,000 to $10,000 on the private market. Number 8. The Catalina 27. More than 6,600 hulls were built between 1970 and 1991. That number is not a typo. 6,600. The Catalina 27 has the largest owner network of any used cruising sailboat in the United States. The Annapolis-based Catalina 27 fleet is still racing actively. PHRF ratings run from 201 to 216, which puts it faster on the racecourse than comparable O'Day, Hunter, and Ericson 27s. The engine choice defines the boat. A diesel inboard Catalina 27 commands $2,000 to $4,000 more than an Atomic 4 gas version of the same year. Pay it. The Atomic 4 is getting harder to service every year. Used price is $4,000 to $12,000 depending on engine and condition. Number 9. The Cal 27. Bill Lapworth again. The Cal 27 ran from 1975 to 1985 with a displacement to length ratio of 278. It sails well in 6 to 14 knots of breeze. That is the wind range most coastal sailors actually sail in. Available with an 11 horsepower universal diesel or an 8 horsepower Yanmar inboard. Either diesel is the correct choice. The Atomic 4 gas engine was an option on earlier boats and is the wrong choice today. Diesel versions on the private market run $5,000 to $10,000. Craigslist in most sailing regions turns up Cal 27s around $5,000 in sailing condition. Number 10. The Ranger 26. Gary Mull designed this boat, and Gary Mull also designed the Ranger 37, the last bona fide production sailboat to win the Southern Ocean Racing Conference. That was 1972. The 26 carries that racing DNA in a 26-foot hull at a fraction of the price. Practical Sailor called it a hearty little racer cruiser with good looks and ease of handling. 5 feet of standing headroom. Small galley. Forward berth. Practical Sailor said it can manage a heavy sea. That is not a claim made about most 26-foot boats. Used price is $4,000 to $10,000 on the private market. Number 11. The Ericson 25. Bruce King designed Ericson boats for sailors who wanted performance without sacrificing comfort. The 25 is the entry point into that tradition. Ericson boats on Boat Trader currently list from $5,000 upward. Good condition examples are in the $7,000 to $11,000 range. The Ericson 25 is a performance-oriented boat for a coastal sailing region with reliable wind. Number 12. The Pearson 30. William Shaw again. The original 1971 base price was $11,750. By November of 1979, the base price had jumped to $28,300. The average 1979 model sold for $35,000 new. In 2025, that same 1979 Pearson 30 is selling for $12,000. Write that again. $12,000 for a boat that cost $35,000 new and was built to offshore racing standards. Practical Sailor called it an active sailor's boat, responsive and a pleasure to sail. Late model Pearson 30s came with a 2-cylinder universal diesel. Buy the diesel version. Check the keel bolts and the spade rudder bearings during a survey. Both are standard items and both are straightforward to address. Number 13. The Ericson 27. Bruce King. 1,302 hulls built. 6 feet 1 inch of standing headroom throughout the entire cabin. Full standing headroom in a 27-foot boat. The 9-foot beam gives the interior a sense of space that boats 5 feet longer sometimes fail to match. A diesel inboard Ericson. 27 commands $3,000 to $5,000 more than the same boat with an atomic 4 engine. That premium is correct. Boats under $9,000 are project boats with deferred maintenance. Boats from $9,000 to $14,000 are ready to sail. That is the keelindex.com assessment from April 2026 based on 10 active listings. Number 14. The Cal 25-2. A second-generation Cal 25 built from 1977 to 1983. 392 hulls. Sailing Magazine called it a great buy for a used compact cruiser because it sells for $8,000 to $10,000 and has all the features of a 27-footer. That is not marketing language. That is the measured assessment of a boat that was overbuilt at the factory and is now available at used market prices. Number 15. The Cape Dory. 27. Carl Alberg. 27 feet overall. Displacement of 7,500 pounds. A capsize screening formula of 1.74. Everything below 2.0 is acceptable for offshore sailing. Everything below 1.8 is ideal. This boat is ideal. 275 hulls were built between 1977 and 1984. A diesel inboard was standard from the factory. Alberg designed this boat to go anywhere in any weather without asking the crew for anything extra. Cape Dory's motto was a standard of value. Used price is $3,500 to $12,000, with a median asking price of $9,500 based on 9 active listings tracked by keelindex.com in April 2026. A $5,000 Cape Dory 27 needs sails or a repower. An $8,000 example is ready to sail. Number 16. The O'Day 26. Only 85 hulls built. O'Day designed it specifically for coastwise ocean sailing and for over-the-road trailer transport. 25.7 feet overall. Displacement of 4,800 pounds. Practical Sailor noted slightly more speed than comparable boats of the era. 85 hulls is a small number. These boats do not come up often. When one does, the price is $6,000 to $12,000, and the buyers who know what they are looking at move quickly. Number 17. The Pearson 28. 2 distinct generations. The first Pearson 28 ran from 1975 to 1982. The redesigned version ran from 1985 to 1989. Pearson has built successful boats in the 28-foot range since the Pearson Triton was introduced in 1959. That lineage spans 30 years of refinement in the same size class. Solid construction, proven Chesapeake and coastal record. Used price is $8,000 to $15,000 depending on engine and condition. The 1985 to 1989 version is the more refined boat. Number 18. The Ericson 29. 29 feet overall. Beam of 9 feet 6 inches. Step up from the Ericson 27 with more beam, more interior volume, and a slightly better offshore profile. Same Bruce King Racing DNA, one size larger. Ready-to-sail examples run $8,000 to $15,000. Number 19. The Tartan 27. This boat was built in the 1960s when fiberglass manufacturers did not yet know how little material they could get away with, so they used more. The result is a hull that owners describe as built like a Cadillac. A 1966 Tartan 27 on San Francisco Bay sold for $4,000 cash. The new owner sailed it from San Diego to Puerto Salina in Mexico within the first year. He had never owned a keelboat before buying this one. He described being out in 25 to 35 knot winds with 20-foot swells off La Jolla. He called it a confidence builder. Used price is $3,000 to $10,000 depending on condition. Number 20. The Cape Dory. 28. This is where the list ends because this is the boat that earns the last word. Carl Alberg. full keel, diesel inboard, offshore capsize screening. The Cape Dory 28 costs 10 to 15% more per year to maintain than the 25, according to the Cape Dory Owners Forum. On a $10,000 boat, that is $1,000 to $1,500 a year more. For a boat that crosses oceans, well-maintained examples run $10,000 to $18,000. The Cape Dory Sailboat. Owners Association at capedory.org tracks active listings, parts sources, and owners willing to assist with surveys and yard recommendations. That resource does not exist for a new Beneteau. It exists here because the people who own these boats know exactly what they have. Now the number nobody mentions when they talk about cheap sailboats. A $10,000 boat in a marina slip is not a $10,000 purchase. A pre-purchase survey on a 27-foot boat runs $400 to $800. That survey is not optional. A survey that finds a $20,000 problem on a $10,000 boat is the best $400 ever spent. First-year slip fees at a mid-range coastal marina run $4,200 to $7,200 annually, according to Boat Trader data from July 2025. Annual haul-out and bottom paint on a 25 to 27-foot boat runs $1,500 to $2,500 when done professionally. Year 1 deferred maintenance on a 40-year-old boat in average condition runs $2,000 to $5,000. Standing rigging, sails, engine service, through hulls. The 10 small things the previous owner stopped caring about. Add it up. $10,000 purchase price, $500 for the survey, $5,000 for the slip, $2,000 for the haul-out and bottom paint, $3,000 for year 1 maintenance. Total year 1, $20,500. On a boat, the listing price told you was $10,000. The math is not a reason to walk away. It is the math the industry refuses to do for you because the industry wants you looking at new boats with financing attached. The sailor who walks in with that arithmetic already done is the one who negotiates correctly, budgets correctly, and is sailing the second summer instead of selling the boat after the first. The retired electrician from New Jersey who drove 4 hours and paid $6,500 cash knew every line of that math before he made the call. 9 months later, he was in Bermuda. No broker took a cut, no bank financed it, no marina had a leverage point on him. These 20 boats exist right now on Craigslist, on Facebook Marketplace, on sailboatlistings.com, and on the hard at boat yards where the owner moved away and the family just wants it gone. The list is not the hard part. The math is not the hard part. Knowing where to look and what you are looking at when you find it, that is what Yachts and Boats is here for. Subscribe, and we will keep building this.